This is Missy Vinson for Dr. Carl Becker's Basic Public Speaking class for spring 2016. This is my discrimination speech, and the topic that I chose to speak on was HIV/AIDS. Some of the information that I'm going to provide is from American Medical Association Journal of Ethics from December 2009, Volume 11, Number 12. Some of the information regarding the celebrities that I'm going to discuss is on lifeline.com. HIV is different from any other disease that's out there. It attacks your immune system. Once it gets a hold, you can't fight off infections. That's why you hear a lot of people say they tested positive for HIV/AIDS, but they died from complications of pneumonia, bronchitis, the flu. They can't fight off simple infections. When a person is told that they have contracted the disease or they're positive for HIV/AIDS, there's so many concerns that come about. I mean, not only physical, emotional, social, legal, but the thoughts of their families. What's the rest of their life going to be like? What are they supposed to do now? What's the outcome going to be? How long do they have to live? There have been many advances in the treatment over the years, but the acceptance from U.S. citizens has not improved at all. There's a lot of ignorance on the subject on HIV/AIDS virus regarding how people get it, how they spread it, is it curable? But I think that'll always be, no matter how much education is provided. There have been a lot of individuals that's been discriminated against because they are forthcoming and say, yes, I am HIV positive. Yes, I have AIDS. They've been denied employment. They've been fired from their jobs, kicked out of their homes. Their families have pretty much thrown them away. There have even been healthcare professionals that once they learned that their patient had HIV/AIDS, they refused to take care of them. In the health field, you take an oath, an ethical oath, saying, my feelings, my judgments, my thoughts on this will be put to the side to give the proper care that I was trained for. There was a survey done in 2009 by the Kaiser Family Foundation, and it just basically asked individuals how they think that this disease can be contracted. Would they be uncomfortable with knowing that a person had it? A third of Americans believe that HIV can be transmitted by sharing a drinking glass, touching a toilet seat, swimming in a swimming pool with an infected person. That same survey found that half the adults that took it said they'd be uncomfortable if they went to a restaurant and found out that the cook had HIV/AIDS virus. If their roommate, 42% said they would feel very uncomfortable if they knew their roommate had it. 23% said they would feel uncomfortable if a coworker, and 35% said they would be uncomfortable if they knew that their child's teacher contracted the disease. As I said, there's more and more technology that's come out, so many improvements. I think a lot of the celebrities that have contracted the disease and have come out are really raising awareness, but there's still that ignorance in Americans. Back in 1985, there was a star, Rock Hudson. This was the first person that I ever heard of with AIDS, and I was young then. But after he passed, it came out that he was homosexual, that he did have this virus. You know, since then, there's been many celebrities that's contracted the virus and have made awareness about it. You have the swimmer Greg Louganis. He came out and said that he had it. Freddie Mercury, he was the lead singer in a band called Queen. He came out and said that he had the virus. Well, he died 2 days after his announcements from complications with pneumonia. Eazy-E, the rapper, back in February of 1995, came out and said that he was promiscuous, that he had unprotected sex with many sexual partners, and that he contracted the virus and he died 1 month later. Elizabeth Glaser, who is the wife of Paul Glaser, who's an actor and a producer, tested positive for HIV/AIDS virus after a blood transfusion that she had to have after she gave birth to their daughter. The tennis pro Arthur Ashe also contracted the disease from blood transfusion. We all remember the story of Ryan White, the teenager from Indiana that contracted the disease when he was young from a blood transfusion. He had a disease called hemophilia, where he required the blood and he got infected blood. And then most recently we've had Charlie Sheen that's come out, said that yes, he's HIV positive. The steps that he's working with, the technology that they're working on to try to find a cure for this illness. Even though we have all these celebrities, all these famous people that are coming forward and they are admitting to their wrongs, or they're just dealt with the wrong deck of cards, like with the getting the bad blood and all that. Even with all these celebrities coming forth and saying the research, trying to provide education, there are still Americans that are ignorant and lack the education regarding this matter. If someone doesn't know about a certain subject, or they lack the education, they're going to be judgmental and they are going to discriminate. Doesn't mean it's right at all. That's just human nature.